Hey guys, in today's video I'm going to answer a question I get asked quite often, and that is, can you daily drive your MR2? The short answer to that question is yes. I've actually been daily driving my MR2 for a couple years. I've driven it in everything from nice sunny summer weather all the way to snow and ice, and I've never had an issue. Now, each individual person has different circumstances that can dictate whether or not they will be able to daily drive a car like this. But there are probably three major things I'm gonna mention that I think people should really consider. The first thing a person should consider is handling characteristics. As you can see behind me, the engine is in the back. Anyways, because the engine is in the back of the car, what tends to happen a lot with these cars is that people will go into a corner too fast, they lift. When they lift, weight transfers to the front, the back end starts to slide out. When you mix that with the short wheelbase of the car, the tail slides out very, very quickly. People like to call this snap oversteer, when in reality it's lift off oversteer. And that can be attributed to the driver inputs. It's not the car itself. For those who have concerns about the handling characteristics, I'd recommend doing something like an autocross. They're cheap, fun, and you get to learn how the car handles at the very limit, which is really important if you're going to be driving the car on like ice and or snow or something like that. It'll make you feel a lot more confident as a driver. The mid-engine layout of the MR2 makes for an awesome experience, and realistically you're not going to get anything close to it for the price point. I mean, your other options are Fieros, which honestly weren't built that well in my opinion. The next option is things like Porsche and things of that nature. On every car, it's really important to have a good set of tires, as that's the only thing that touches the road. But I really wanted to emphasize this for the MR2. And the reason is pretty simple. As I've mentioned, the handling characteristics are difficult for a beginner and or novice driver to deal with. So if you have bad tires, the odds of the back end stepping out mid-corner are greatly increased. Just to give you a little demo, I put a set of old worn out tires on my car here. They're Federal 595 RSRs. They're the tires I typically use to autocross and do track days with. As I mentioned, they are worn, heat cycled, and have bad wear. In addition, because they're more of a performance tire, they tend to get harder in the cold weather like it is, so they don't grip as well. So what I'm gonna do is roll into the car, and then you'll see how it just breaks loose with these bad tires. Yeah, you guys see that? All it did was spin. I hope the camera picked it up okay, but it didn't grip at all. All it did was spin the tires and kick rocks up. So now you might ask, well, what do you recommend for tires? Honestly, that's like a rabbit hole I don't really want to get into, mainly because there's not necessarily a right answer. It depends your application. But for daily driving, I recommend most people just get a good all-season tire. It's actually what I do. As you can see here, I got a good tire. It's actually one of the ones I run on my car when I daily it. It's just a Kumo tire, 195/50/15. I run a square setup all year round. A lot of people say do staggered. I do the square setup just because it's a little cheaper, to be honest with you. I can rotate the tires. I know some people may disagree with the square setup, but the main difference I've noticed is that the car is more tail happy. But I'm driving it on the street and not at the limit, so I haven't found any issues with it. The next thing I'm going to go over is cargo space. And to be honest with you, if you have friends and or family, maybe you have a kid, this may not be the car for you because there's not much of it. To start, the interior is pretty small. Like when I have people in the car with me, we're typically like shoulder to shoulder, so you're going to definitely get nice and cozy with your passengers. Now, there is two storage cubbies right here, one behind each seat, and then some cars even have a storage cubby right there. Primarily they were found on turbo cars. Now this car does have a trunk and a frunk. We'll go over the frunk first. There's not much going on in the frunk. You got your spare battery here. Maybe if you had like a small tool bag, you can easily put it here. Underneath the tire, you're gonna find the battery. If you take this off, you'll have access to things like the master cylinder for the brake, master cylinder for the clutch over here. For those people who do like stereo systems, I've seen several MR2 owners actually take out the spare tire and put like a sub and or amp in there, so that's possible. Next thing, we got the trunk, which is surprisingly spacious. You can actually fit a couple golf bags in there. As you guys can see, I actually got a tote here, which I carry with me everywhere just in case I break down. I got a bag with more stuff just in case they break down again. I also got a towel if I have to lay on the ground. Really common issue with these cars is that the springs start to fail over time and then they start to sag. For what the car is, I actually feel like it has a surprising amount of storage space. With that being said though, when you consider it to your average car, it's like next to nothing. Just a quick recap. So if you're going to buy one of these cars, you should definitely understand the handling characteristics are going to be different compared to your traditional front wheel drive front engine car. Make sure you have really good tires or just tires that are in good condition. Thirdly, understand that space is going to be at a premium when you compare it to a regular sedan like a Chevy Malibu or something like that. I didn't go into huge detail about these things because they can happen on any car, but please make sure your car is mechanically sound if you're going to daily it. Second generation MR2s are about 25 years old at this point, so it is something to consider. Also, the e-brake cables on these cars love to freeze up, so if you live in a place where temperatures hit freezing, definitely be considerate of that. Now I am 100% positive I forgot some things. So if you're a current MR2 owner or have experience with these cars, comment some stuff down below so future owners can know what to think about before they get one and decide to daily drive the car. That being said, if you could like the video, comment, share, subscribe, I would greatly appreciate that. And as always, have a good day.